Joining me right now, Fox News contributor and former LAPD detective Mark Fuhrman. Good to see you, Mark. What are you making of this?
Thank you. Well, you know, I've been listening to this search for a motive, and I think everybody should understand the detectives that are working at the initial, the center of this scene where the suspect was where he actually took his own life and all of the assault took place. The homicide detectives are working there, and they're working out from there. Now, the motive is one thing in a homicide, if there's a prosecution, that you really never have to approach. It's just who did what, when, where, and how. So the motive is something we all want to know, but sometimes the motive is really never understood. I mean, most homicides, it's a senseless act.
Well, I don't know. I think often we, in horrible situations like this, and you do see something, right? There's some indication in the person's past that they had a lack of stability, and maybe we're getting that in some ways. We're learning, of course, that he didn't like the government, he didn't like taxes, he didn't like people. He was suffering from certain kinds of anxiety, so much so that he needed this prescription medicine, and his girlfriend says he was moaning at night, screaming out, "Oh my God." I mean, so these are pieces that are coming forward. I know it's not so clean cut, and he didn't leave some kind of suicide note, but, you know, we're all grasping for a motive here. I think it's important that they start to try and piece something together, because the public really wants to know.
Well, I think they do, and the description of of Mr. Paddock that you actually laid out could probably apply to 10, 15, 20% of the public living in metropolitan areas. So, I mean, that's not enough. But look at the motive in so much as the crime scene. The suspect took 12 bump fire stocks and put them on 12 assault rifles, and most probably either did or intended to use all 12 rifles in the assault instead of reloading magazines. Is there a statement there? I think there is. If there was an intended or an unintended consequence of his act, it was certainly that the bump fire stocks are going to be legislated out of existence. And the gun control debate is open, hot, and alive, with a lot of Republicans actually putting their foot in the fire.
Well, I think this is actually pretty remarkable, Mark, because it happened. The news broke right here on the intelligence report at this time yesterday that the NRA wanted to see regulation, was open to this discussion. The White House has also indicated it's open to a discussion about gun control. I hesitated to talk about gun control, especially in the first and second day of this attack, just because emotions are so raw, and it doesn't feel like the right time or place to do so. But, you know, we're at the end of the week now, and we have seen the NRA say they are open to this discussion. We have seen the White House say they're open to this discussion. Might we see perhaps the most meaningful changes in the gun industry in decades?
Well, let's be honest. The bump stock device is actually, there's really actually no useful purpose for it except for laying down a lot of rounds quickly, which could be entertainment. In this case, it was a mass homicide. So that's not hard to legislate away. I think you'd be hard pressed to find any gun owner that would actually defend that. But if you're going to try to move it into the possession of firearms, I think this is where the division's going to start again. And this isn't about a firearm committing a crime. This is about a man committing a crime. Now, if he left a manifesto, we don't listen, read, or follow the directions of madmen that leave manifestos. Look at the Unabomber. We did nothing with his manifesto except for actually grab him and prosecute him. The manifesto means nothing, but if we can actually conclude something from his acts, and it's our thought, then he quite possibly is living through his motive of his act by our conclusions from the crime scene. It sounds a little complicated, but if he tells us, we wouldn't do it. If we conclude it, we might.
Interesting. Well, I think from a national security standpoint, people want to be able to rule certain things out. Terrorism, Islamic terrorism is one of them because ISIS has tried to claim this attack. And so I think, for a whole variety of reasons, national security and also just sort of everyone's peace of mind right now as the country struggles with all of this, everybody's asking, why did this happen and could it have been prevented? Mark Fuhrman, it's good to have you here. Thank you very much.